Hey everybody, down here in the basement, and look what I've got here. I'm gonna open this up finally. It's a sealed case of 1986 Topps rack. This case is worth $1,000 if I keep it sealed. If I open it up, I could sell the boxes for $185 a piece. So it's definitely better sealed, but we don't do that around here. We like to rip open stuff. So this is a $1,000 case. We're gonna rip it open, take a pack of 86 Topps out, and see what we can find on this Throwback Thursday. And if we can get a big Hall of Famer like a Nolan Ryan or a Ricky Henderson in a PSA 10, they're worth massive amounts of money. We'll tell you how much coming up next. All right, everybody. Well, welcome back to Throwback Thursday. Today we're opening this 1986 Topps rack case, sealed case. I just looked on eBay. These go, or at least one has literally sold for $924 plus tax and shipping. So it's about $1,000 case. It's still sealed. This is what they would call tape intact. It's still connected. It's coming off a little bit on the top because this tape is 39 years old, but it's still connected over here. Pretty crazy stuff right there. An old case. So why are we opening this? Well, I like to do some older 80s packs and boxes every now and again, and there's the chance to find some really quite valuable cards. Before I rip into this, let me just show you what we're on the lookout for here, and you're gonna think, man, that'd be crazy if you can get one of those. Likely we will find these cards. The problem is, can we get them in a PSA 10? These were some recent sales. These are all sold listings. Do you see Ricky Henderson? How about a Nolan Ryan for $2,600 in a 10? Ricky Henderson's going for $2,000 in a 10. Pete Rose sold for $1,700 in a 10. Ricky again, $1,400. Ricky again. George Brett sold for $1,200 in a 10. Don Mattingly might be around a $1,000 card in a 10. So, even though the 86 Topps set is kind of void of any decent rookies, all the good rookies from 86 Topps are all within the traded set. The best 86 Topps rookie out of the flagship base set, you're looking for Cecil Fielder, Lenny Dykstra, guys like that. Who else? Maybe like Vince Coleman, Harold Reynolds. But anyway, here we go. I'm busting it off. The break has begun. This sucks. $1,000 gone down the drain. It's like when you drive a new car off the lot. It's worth way less than it was just a second ago. Same kind of deal here. So let me work out a brand new fresh box, and I still have 3 boxes, by the way, in this case. So I still have 2 more boxes in there that I can choose from to find some great stuff, hopefully. I was actually going to take this spot for myself. If nobody took this spot, if I didn't get a sponsor, I was going to take this for myself, and I was going to take these cards, send them in to be graded, and then hopefully get at least 110. Just 110. If I send in 10 cards and get 110, it'll be worth it. That's very hard to do. Very, very hard to do, though, because there's a black border on the top. You know how those black border cards are. Just think of 1971. So here we go. All of the cards in this video are going to Tim. Tim is one of our Patreon members, and he's been a long-time Patreon member. Thanks, Tim. We're going to see if we can get some stuff for you. We've got the sleeves ready to go. We'll be sleeving these cards up. The big ones, you know, the Ricky, the Nolan, the George Brett, the Pete Rose. Let's get into it. Here we go. There's a ton of cards in here. There is 24 packs. 24 rack packs, which is kind of like getting I guess it's like, what? Multiply that out by 3, you're looking at 72 packs. So it's a good bit more than just a regular wax box. And that's why these go for big money. Let's see what we've got. Hey, this card right here, that Ricky Henderson right on top, that one sold in the PSA 10 for $1,524. Kind of sucks that it's on top, because usually the cards on top are your right there. Cards on top usually carry the biggest risk of having a little bit of wear on a corner. Cards in the middle of the box, probably the safest. But let's see what we can do. Who would have thought 86 Topps could be this valuable? Can you imagine getting Nolan Ryan on top of one of these rack packs, we might have that here. That would be freaking awesome. A lot of great players in here. There's Ozzie Smith on the top. We're gonna need some real estate here, so I'm gonna get all the packs out of the box. Empty box. Just gonna throw it away. Never really not much need for it. I'm not one to really keep display boxes and stuff like that. All right, Tim, here we go. Best of luck. Randy Ready Dave Smith. Back in the day, these probably cost, I don't know, what were they, like 99 cents for a rack pack or something like that? The regular packs, I think, were 35 cents, the regular wax packs. So let's have at it. I'm hoping that these all open easily without scissors. I might have to just pause the video and go get scissors. I don't want to be gnawing away at these the entire video because that's kind of annoying. No one wants to see that. And I also want to have some degree of care with the cards. I don't want to like have the cards flying up in the air and popping out everywhere. That would be terrible. Oh, this is kind of, that's weird. It's sticking to that a little bit. Very strange. Very strange indeed. Yeah, I'm going to go get some scissors for this. Back armed with some scissors. This should make things a little faster. I mean, there's a lot of these to open up. This is much easier to do it this way. Snip right across. And we'll see if we can find some of these Hall of Famers. Again, there's no good rookies in 86 tops. Just the veterans. All right, here we go. And I can already tell you, these tops look pretty good. Tops of the cards. Rick Sutcliffe, Carlton Fisk, he's a Hall of Famer. Eric Davis, second-year card. We've got Mitch Webster right there. Looks like that's kind of annoying. I can't imagine flipping every other card over throughout the entire duration of the video, so I'll probably only stop on notable cards if they're flipped. There's Cecil Fielder. He's one of the big rookies. It's terribly miscut, though. Bad cut on that one. Let's see what else. Paul Householder. I can't remember that name at all. Phillies leaders card. Steve Carlton right there. Ted Power. Willie Mays. Turn back the clock to 1971. Get that in the sleeve pile. Again, we'll sleeve up all the good ones. There's Vince Coleman. Again, really nice corners on these. Just absolutely perfect. I don't know if I could even get you a super zoom, but if I did, look how nice that corner is. You got a chance, Tim. You got a real chance of maybe getting some PSA 10s out of this sealed case. That's why people like the sealed cases. There's Ozzie Smith. You get one of those per pack, which is pretty cool. Ron Guidry, Phil Necro right there. He's a Hall of Famer. Heck, you might want to just have every single Hall of Famer graded. I'll sleeve that up too for you. And Paul Molitor in here as well. Great looking cards, and also no gum stains, no wax stains on any of them. Now I've noticed that last glossy card was sticking to the pack a little bit, so that might be an issue. I don't know if these cards ever got exposed to heat, but you could tell that Eddie Murray as well here doesn't want to move around a lot. We'll see. We'll work our way through this next pack and see what we can do. With pack number 2, no Nolan Ryan yet. I'm hoping to maybe find several Nolan. Man, it's just stuck. That's a shame. Yeah, we can work it out, but it does have a little bit of like plastic residue on it. So, looks like those 86 Topps All-Star Glossies, you're not going to want those graded. But all the base cards are perfect. Zane Smith, the player my brother and I used to love to hate for no reason. He even played for the Pirates. We still didn't like him. Brett Butler, master of the bunt. There's Jack Clark. He was a good one. Joe Carter, not a Hall of Famer, but a nice card there. A couple years into his career, we got Tommy Herr. Burt Blyleven coming up next. Another Hall of Famer. This is good old Johnny Grubb. Love that name. There's Michael Jack Schmidt. Mike Schmidt with his 500 home runs. Don Sutton coming up next. Another Hall of Famer. There'll be Hall of Famers all through this box. Gary Carter is another Hall of Famer. There's Darren Dalton. I remember back when I was a kid, there's Bobby Cox going, I think 6th grade, there's a giant cardboard cutout of Darren Dalton drinking milk in our middle school lunch line. And I never understood it. I was like, why is Darren Dalton here? He's on the Phillies. We don't get down with the Phillies. Here's also, she said she found something real funny today. She was just down here and she's like, Dad, I found something. There's Dusty Baker. You want to show them? She thought this was hilarious. Do you know why? That's why. Looks like Topps was ahead of their time. They knew what was coming up. This awful meme that we can't escape. All right, on to the next pack up for Tim. Get them all opened up. This is pack number 3. Jack Morris, sticky card right there. You can even see some of the, like the star has been branded onto that Jack Morris. Right through the plastic. That's a shame. Otherwise, again, all the other cards are fine. All right, let's see what we got going on with this next one. It's Pete Rose. Pete Rose. That's pretty cool they did that. I forgot they did that. They gave Pete Rose every single year. They gave that treatment to Hank Aaron in 1974 Topps. After he broke the record, I guess same deal with Pete Rose with the hits record. Dave Stewart right there. Ron Guidry once again. Just terrible collation here with the cards going every which way. That's always been an issue with certain sets. Used to hate Rob Deere, Mr. Strikeout. I used to think he was awful. I was like, why is that guy even in the big leagues? Rob Deere. Now his batting average would be like a normal batting average, and he'd be a accepted player in today's age. Jack Morris, we already saw that one. There's Jerry Koosman. Man, did he ever have a nice career, nice long career? He shared Nolan Ryan's rookie card with him. Really overlooked. Like nobody even probably even thinks about Jerry Koosman that much. But this guy, look at the back of the baseball card there. It looks like over 200 wins in his career. And Jerry Koosman, most people just kind of dismiss him as a common because he's just so overshadowed by the icon. Hey, how about Bob Gibson? That's not the right Bob Gibson. I didn't even realize there was another Bob Gibson until just this moment. Imagine tricking somebody and be like, hey, I'll give you my Bob Gibson for your whatever, and then you give him that card. Let's see what else. The old bait and switch. Okay. That'd be a fun April Fool's Day joke. Do it on a dealer. Like, show them some cards. You know how these collectors always walk around with their cards. Show them your cards. Have like a nice Bob Gibson in there. Like, I don't know, Bob Gibson rookie card. And be like, I'll give you my Gibson for this. And he's like, yeah, I'll do that. And then you just break out the 86 Topps Bob Gibson and hand it over. And just to get the expression on his face would be pretty funny. He'd be like, wait a second there. What's happening? All right, here we go. Dave Winfield is the sticky card. We'll work our way off of him. And there's another card by Lee Smith. He's a Hall of Famer. Yeah, I can't believe all these cards are in such great shape. Again, I don't know, Tim. If it was up to me, I would definitely take the Nolan Ryan when he comes out to get graded. The Ricky Henderson as well. Because it's tough to get a PSA 10 on those. But it could happen. I think the pop on the 10s are less than 100. There's Steve Carlton. But a lot of these cards were in kids' shoeboxes under their beds. And that's why nobody gets a 10. Because those black borders are bent up. There's Andre Dawson. Another nice one. Hey, Emmy. I'll be in to say goodnight in a little bit, okay? Whitey Herzog right there, another Hall of Famer. Jim Rice, another Hall of Famer. Pete Rose. I wasn't buying cards in 86. Actually, I think I may have been, actually. I know I was getting Garbage Pail Kids in 86 for sure, 100%. And I know also that I was getting football cards in 86. Not a lot, but I did have probably 200 football cards. There's Ripken. Looking at the design, my dad used to pick me up packs. I don't know if it was just the winter when he did it, but we used to pick up a couple packs down at Johnny's Market. And I've got a little collection of my childhood collection of 86 Topps football, which is pretty cool. I should find that box. It's just buried somewhere out in the garage. I got a pretty good idea of which boxes were from when I was a little kid and which are just from collections. All right, here's this next one. We've got good old Carlton Fisk on the top. Let's work him out. Calvin Schiraldi starts the next one off, Vita Blue. 86, quite a year in baseball, too. Of course, you had the crazy Bill Buckner game. Red Sox looked like that was their year, and the Mets would go on and win the World Series. Eddie Murray, he's a Hall of Famer. Dan Billardello, there's a name from the past. I feel like he may have ended up on the Pirates for a second, too. Tony La Russa, he's a Hall of Famer. A lot of people love to hate him. He got rehired as the White Sox manager a few years ago and did a terrible job. It was just a real disconnect. He just could not relate to today's players. There's Frank DiPino. He's a cool dude. I actually got to meet Frank DiPino and hang out with him and rip a box of 85 Topps. There's the Ozzie Guillen rookie card. Dan Quisenberry, former sidewinder. Here's Rod Carew, another Hall of Famer. All of these corners, man, I'm telling you, these corners are awesome. I just can't get over these. Look at that. Like, it's there's not a touch of white on anything here. Like, you have a great shot of getting a 10 on something. Again, I'm going to get these nice and sleeved up for you, Tim. Because if you didn't grab this box, I would have. I wonder if there's be a Nolan Ryan on top. What do I do in that case? If there's a Nolan Ryan on top, do I even open it? I don't know. Nolan Ryan on top. I might keep it sealed. That pack's going to be worth some big money. Let's see what we've got. Another Dave Winfield sticky card right there. No Whatnot live stream tonight. Taking a break, taking a day off. Usually Thursdays are our off days. Everything from last night was shipped, by the way. There's Phil Necro. Record Breakers card. We'll go live again. I think we're going live tomorrow. Friday night, as always. Started doing the Find the Auto Friday games again. There's Pete Rose. Record breaker, most hits in a lifetime. That's a great card right there. His base card goes for big money in the PSA 10 from this set. We haven't seen him yet. We've seen everybody else. There's Raleigh Fingers. Another nice one, which, of course, will sleeve up. Terry Pendleton used to hate his guts because he beat, for no other reason than beating Barry Bonds for the MVP in 91. A nice Tony Gwynn. I can't see any of these getting less than a 9. But, you know, I'm an amateur grader, and I do know that they're super, super strict nowadays. They don't like handing out 10s. It's Robin, is that, no, it's not Robin Yount. Atlee Hamaker. I used to mispronounce his name, maybe on purpose. Let's call him Atlee Hamaker. I didn't like him. I don't know why. Just another one of the guys. Oh, we got a Cal Rip. Oh, man, this is a crazy pack coming up next. Not this one, but the one after it. I might keep the next one sealed. It's pretty wild. There's 2 big names on the front. It's, I mean, that pack alone, you could probably throw it on eBay, and you might even be able to get what you paid for the box back. Yeah, I know this is a $1,000 case, but I only charge $185 for the box. It's about the going rate of just a loose box of these. Got who? Ozzie Smith on the back. That's pretty nice. And then Ricky Henderson with the sticky front. It's that star. The ink from that star just kind of merged onto the card. Here's our next pack up. Got good old Danny Heap right there. Julio Franco was a great one. Played until he was almost 50. Ray Knight, Tommy Herr. There's Ozzie Smith. We'll get that one in the sleeve pile. Yeah, but 86 Topps used to be kind of a crappy set. Like, I remember my brother, when I'd be like, who the heck, there's not even any good rookies in there. The most valuable rookie, Cecil Fielder, 40 cents. We would always pass on these boxes. And then the trick to this, all the value is coming from that top black stripe, making these so tough to get a PSA 10 in and making them so valuable. Now these boxes are super expensive. Even just a wax box. I mean, the cheapest rack box I found that sold was $185, which is why I sold it for that much. Wax boxes are way up there. I think they're over 100. Lou Whitaker should be in the Hall of Fame. His WAR is like over 70. It's an absolute crime that Whitaker's not in there. Look at this next pack. Cal Ripken Jr. and Pete Rose manager card on the top together. That's insane. So what do you think? Do I open it or not? I think I keep it sealed. I mean, I might be tempted to open it if we don't have the Nolan Ryan. And look at the next one. Next rack pack. I always liked rack packs because you could just literally see who's on the front. Pete Rose. That card there has sold for $1,700 in a PSA 10. I think I got to get it out of there so I can get in the top loader. I think it'll be a little more safe in a top loader than if I send it in a sealed pack. One thing I don't like about it is that it is on top. So if these cards ever shifted in the package, the card on top probably took a little bit, it's the littlest bit of wear. I don't know. Take a good look at it here in a second. Let's get the rest of these out. Yeah, that card has recently sold within the last couple months for $1,700 in a PSA 10. All right, here we go. It's this first part of it. Tim Raines, you all know that he's a Hall of Famer, obviously. Let's see what else. We got to get the Ricky Henderson. Haven't seen him yet. Or the Nolan Ryan. We just got our first of the big ones. There's Reggie Jackson in the Pete Rose. Reggie Jackson nearing the end of his career. There's just a ton of Hall of Famers. 86, such a good year for that. All right, there's that Pete Rose. We're going to look at that here in a second. Good old Mel Hall. Mike Schmidt again. We'll probably end up with like 4 Mike Schmidts, to be honest with you. That's number 2 already. We're not even halfway through the box. Darren Dalton once again. Sparky Anderson. And good old Dwight Evans. So let's take a look at this Pete Rose again. And if it's a PSA 10, it's going to get $1,700. I can tell you it's not going to be a PSA 10 just because it was on the very freaking front of the pack. That top right corner, I see just the littlest tiny bit of a being bent back just a little bit because it's on the top. That sucks. I'll still sleeve it up, but no chance at a 10 for that. They'd probably throw you an 8 maybe. Roger Clemens second-year card. There's another nice one. See, now in the smack dab in the middle, these corners are perfect. Dave Winfield, another Hall of Famer. Oh, there's that Don Mattingly. This card sells for big money also. Man, does this look good. Look at this. Great corners, great centering. I don't know, Tim. That's one I'd probably send in. I'll get it top loaded up. We've seen that card sell for over $1,000 in a PSA 10. Here's our next one, Jack Morris. Love these All-Star cards. Those were really cool back in the day. It was like the equivalent feeling to getting an autograph because you couldn't get anything besides just base cards in the packs. The only time you were getting anything special was if you bought a rack pack. So that was pretty cool. I used to really enjoy the 1989 and 1990 Topps rack packs. I do remember buying those. I remember thumbing through the display looking for the players that I liked on top. Didn't even realize that there's a whole trick to it. If there's a good player, if you just knew the order that the cards come out of the packs, and you would know. Like there's Dale Murphy. Probably will be a Hall of Famer someday. Fernando Valenzuela's on the ballot this year too. I don't think Valenzuela has much chance. I think that Murphy might get in someday. There's Dennis Eckersley, a Hall of Fame closer right there. We were talking about Hall of Fame closers the other night in our chat. I think Aroldis Chapman gets in someday. You know, Lee Smith is in there. Bruce Sutter. I think that Aroldis Chapman is going to get in down the line. So maybe if you have his rookie card, hold on to it. Or if you have a nice autograph. I'm kind of mad at myself. I bought his rookie auto at a card show in the spring, and I freaking sold it. I think I bought it for 25, sold it for 50, and now if I would have held that, man, that would have been worth way more. There's another one. Burt Bly 11 once again. Next up, we got the entire team all-star card on the front there. That's one that I would have skipped as a kid. I would have just gone for the best possible player. I didn't really ever care for team cards or manager cards. Really hated checklists. Even as a kid, I knew better. I knew not to write on a checklist. That was before the days of the internet, though, so I mean, I guess if you wanted to know who a specific number was, you'd have to have a checklist, although you didn't need to write on it. When I started building sets, there's Doc Gooden. That's his second-year card. That's a nice card right there. When I started building sets, I would just write the numbers down. I would organize them all and then write down the missing numbers. And then every time I opened a pack, I would just go and look for those missing numbers. And eventually, when I got down to single digits, like 8 or 9 missing cards, I would learn those names and be on the lookout. Harold Reynolds right there. First ever set I ever completed by hand was 93 tops, and then shortly after, 93 upper deck. 93 was my big year. That was my biggest year of collecting cards. It's just, I was 13 years old. Well, 12 years old. About to be 13 in October. I was cutting grass. I was making money every week, and it was all going straight to baseball cards. Not much else in this one. There's former Pirates closer Jim Gott. Jerry Koosman, the disrespected Jerry Koosman once again. I'm real curious about Jerry Koosman now, just looking at the back of his baseball card. And I always knew he was pretty good. 336 career ERA, 222 wins, but he had 200 plus losses too. I wonder what his WAR was. Jerry Koosman. Just thinking out loud. We see like Cole Hamels is being talked about right now as being a potential Hall of Famer. I don't think Cole Hamels, I wouldn't vote for him. Like his stats are kind of similar to a couple guys that are already in. Maybe a little bit similar to CC Sabathia with less innings pitched. Jerry Koosman had a 53 WAR. 53.7 WAR. 336 career ERA. Whip is a little high for Hall of Famer, 1.25. 2,500 strikeouts. I mean, that's right there with some pitchers that are getting in nowadays. Man, I didn't even realize he was that good. That's why you love the backs of the baseball cards. You always got to flip it over. As a kid, I would look at all the baseball card backs. Koosman wasn't around when I was collecting, so I guess I never got too familiar with his stats. In fact, that 86 tops might be his final ever card. I think it is his final ever card. Which is nice that he got a final card with final stats. There's a lot of Hall of Famers that never got a final tops card, and they don't have their final stat line on there. You know, players that might retire. Whoa! What happened here? Look at this. From the 86 tops, straight from a sealed case box, we have a crazy miscut. Jeff Stone and Cecilia Guante. Man, there's people out there that love this kind of error card. It's not like a print. It's just a printing error. It's not a corrected error, which are worth even more. But this is pretty freaking great. Imagine getting this graded. Like, Tim, I hope you send this off to be graded just to see what PSA classifies this as. They put Jeff Stone, just like dash Cecilia Guante, like off center. I don't know. That's a crazy cut card. Why is it only one in the whole box, too? Like, whoa! We're going to have a bunch of these. How does that get by quality control? Can you imagine if we get a Hall of Famer or something like that? Look at these. There's Cal Ripken Jr. I watch. There'll be one Nolan Ryan in the box, and it's going to be cut like that. Nolan Ryan, the card we're looking for, which is recently sold for $2,600 in a PSA 10. Watch it come out, and it's just cut in half. There's Ted Simmons. So we got 2 of those so far. I feel like it's like a hunt. Like we're looking for the next big rookie or something like that. There might be one more in here. I would assume there's one more. There's 3 of these little packs in a rack pack. There's Dale Murphy once again. Oh, man, just 2 of them in there. But that's pretty freaking crazy. Steve Jeltz with the crazy hair. I used to hate him. Daryl Boston. He was pretty cool. I don't know how Steve Jeltz stayed in the big leagues for as long as he did. Look at his career stats. He's, like, worse than Mario Mendoza. All right, so we're on the other side of the box. There's just a ton of cards here, obviously. We're taking our time, enjoying the 86 tops. Hopefully you're enjoying this Throwback Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow on Friday. We're here every day. Got a video every single day. We've done a video every single day since November of 2019, I think. So, yeah, we're not going to let you down. We'll have something. I've got a couple ones in the hopper. We got to do the Patreon boxes for November still. That video's coming up. We'll see if we can pull something good. There'll be some update in there, obviously. I'm on the hunt for hanger boxes tomorrow, so maybe we'll have the hanger box video. The blaster boxes, actually, I heard they were not good, but they weren't that bad. Check out the video from yesterday. There's a numbered card, at least in all the boxes I opened. About 50% of the boxes have a numbered card in them. You got a couple hits as well. There's Robin Yount. Crazy miscut cards. I can't get over those. There's Terry Francona back in the day. And now a real decent man. I wonder if he can get into the Hall of Fame as a manager. I would not be surprised if Francona if he could get on a ballot. He might be able to get in there. Terry Francona making his rise with the Red Sox, breaking their curse, and doing a fantastic job still. Most recently with the Reds, also did a great job with the Guardians. Took a small market team like the Guardians and made them perennial playoff contenders. I don't know how the Guardians do it every year. They have basically the same payroll as the Pirates, and the Guardians are always in the hunt for the playoffs, making it or just, getting very darn close. The Pirates are always cellar dwellers, even with Paul Skeens. This year, though, the talk of the town is that the Pirates might be spending, and they have been linked to Kyle Schwarber, which would be insane. There's Wade Boggs. That's a great-looking card right there. Hall of Famer. First Wade sighting of the night. Pete Vukovich, the villain from Major League right there. It's pretty cool they had him be in that movie. There's Mike Trout. Or check that, Steve Trout. That's actually, I don't know. I don't think, I was just about to make something up and say that's Mike Trout's uncle. I don't know. But Steve Trout, I hear a joke about this card every now and again. Steve Trout, first female Major League pitcher ever. First one. Just because the hair is just crazy right there. Obviously it's not. It's just a really, really poofed up hairdo right there. Kind of looks like, he looks literally exactly like my 5th grade librarian, Miss Rebick, I think her name was. My brother would know that name. The Miss Rebick card. Tell me that's not Miss Rebick, Jono. There's Mark Bruhard. Man, he looks like it's been a hard past couple years for him. Mark Bruhard looks like he might be, I don't know, not a major leaguer, that's for sure. There's Dave Parker. He's a Hall of Famer. Players in the 80s were built different, that's for sure. There's Tony Perez with Eric Davis. That's a great looking card. Another Hall of Famer. I like that card with Davis on there. Davis was all the rage back in the mid-80s with his power and speed. Darryl Strawberry right there. A little bit miscut, I'd say, from top to bottom. Another P. Rhodes. I'm taking all these out and sleeving them up. I don't know. Maybe Tim wants to send in the run to have them graded. Jack Moore's a Hall of Famer. Eric Schau. Here he is. Ricky Henderson. One of the most valuable cards in a PSA 10. I don't know if it will get a PSA 10, if only for the reason of it has a small print bubble right there. Look at that, right on the arm. Really tiny. Sometimes you get those little bubbles or little print circles. Otherwise, it looks perfect. Ricky Henderson. They would probably throw you a 9 just because of that. Tom Seaver right there as well. Some fantastic cards in this 86 Topps box. And we still have a giant stack of them over here. We haven't hit the Nolan Ryan yet. I feel like we've seen everybody except for Nolan Ryan. We saw Cal Ripken over there, if only because he was on the front of the pack. Nolan Ryan's probably in that pack behind him. The Nolan Ryan recently is sold for $2,600 in a PSA 10. Crazy stuff. Here we go with our next pack. This is going to end up going to be probably a 40-minute video. But we can't rush through 86 Topps. There was Terry Pendleton right there. Ozzie Virgil. It would be probably a 2-hour video if I was switching all the cards. Every other card right side up. Tony Gwynn. Second Tony Gwynn. That one will get top loaded up. It could potentially be an $800 to $1,000 card in a PSA 10. So we got to make sure that's protected. There's Cecil Fielder, the rookie. The major rookie. That one's a little bit better centered. It's still not perfect. Centering on the last one was a little worse. That one might be 30-70. There's George Brett. This card recently sold for $1,200 in a PSA 10. Centering looks pretty good. Corners are fantastic. George Brett. Bill Buckner. Great guy right there. That's the year. This is the year that Buckner let it go through his legs. That picture was probably taken right before it happened. Dave Kingman, he had a nice career, a lot of home runs, a lot of strikeouts, low batting average. But a decent major league career. Mookie Wilson of the World Series champion New York Mets. On to the next one. I'm looking at every rack pack as I take it off the stack. Hopeful that we're going to see a big Hall of Famer on top. The Cal Ripken Jr. and Pete Rose pack, definitely the best so far. I wonder if Pete Rose could ever get into the Hall of Fame now. That's a big question. We were talking about that in the chat the other night, too. I don't know. I feel like with the Riders, he has absolutely no chance. Like, he might, I don't know, get, 20% of the vote from the Riders. His best shot is the Veterans Committee, and that's the rest of the way. That's what it's going to be. He'll come up in front of the Veterans Committees, and all he needs is 75% to get in. I know that, I don't know. I feel like even Barry Bonds has gone before those committees, and he hasn't been able to get in. There's Raleigh Fingers, Bonds, and Clemens coming up again this year. They need to get 3/4 of the vote. I think there's 12 guys on a committee, so if they can just convince 3/4 of them to vote for him, get 9 out of 12, they'll be good. There's Earl Hershiser. There he is. We've been waiting for you, Nolan. Nolan Ryan, 1986 Topps. Could it get a 10? The corners look fantastic. I do not see any noticeable print bubbles on there. We're going to get it top loaded up for you. I'm going to first get it sleeved up right now. The most valuable card right there, Nolan Ryan. Can it get a 10? That's the big question. This could be like a series. Taking these cards, part 2. Take the cards, drop them off to get graded. I'd probably drop them off at a GameStop or something like that. And then the big reveal. How many 10s can we get? Send in like 100 cards, probably get like 110 because they're so stingy. And they'd probably give, if we just sent like just a Johnny LeMaster just to see, they'd give that one the 10, of course. All right, here we go. Next one up. Bruce. Who even is this? Bruce Bernier. I don't even know. Bruce B. from the Mets. He was on the world champion Mets, potentially. 86. It's a name I haven't heard. There's Ricky once again. I wonder if these glossy cards are worth more because they did stick and then get the star branded. There, you see, can you see the outline of the star branded onto it? So that kind of sucks. None of those cards will be able to be graded. There's Tony Perez once again. Man, the grade stack here for Tim is quite high. Got a bunch of cards I'm going to be sleeving up. We'll get all the best ones top loaded up for you, Tim. And we still have a ways to go here. Royce Molly, a little bit miscut. No more of the big miscuts. It's Roger Maris. Turn back the clock. Look at those two crazy ones that were cut right down the middle. Somehow got through the quality control. Imagine getting a whole box like that, though. Back in the day. Bill Swift, I think that was his rookie card. Former manager, Ken Griffey Sr. right there. Joel Skinner. There's Del Murphy All-Star card. This is a Harold Reynolds rookie card. People like Harold Reynolds a lot. I liked him. I didn't really care for him as a player that much. I didn't really follow the Mariners that much in the late 80s, early 90s. But Harold Reynolds is a great analyst, I think. A lot of people have grown to love him in his post-playing days. There's Lou Whitaker right there. Man, I'm glad I did go get the scissors. I couldn't imagine trying to work through this, ripping through these with just my fingers. That would be a drag. Lou Whitaker is the glossy. There's always a card that doesn't want to come out with him. That time it's going to be Toby Harrah. All right, Tim, let's see what else we got. Again, if you're thinking, where's Bonds? Where's Canseco? Where's Bo Jackson? Where's John Kruk? Where's Andres Galarraga? Where are all these guys? Again, they're all untraded. All those big rookies. There's Dave Parker again. The set is absolutely loaded here with Hall of Famers. And I've got the Tiffany set. It's literally sitting right next to me. It's been sitting there collecting dust for the past, 6 months. It's a sealed Tiffany set. It's worth over $2,000. The ones with the seal still intact are worth way more because it's just common sense. If the seal is still intact, it means people haven't potentially taken the cards out and looked through them and put them back in the box. Because you know what happens when people put them back in the box a lot of times? Yeah, you can figure it out. They take a big brick, look through it, and then they take the brick and try to put it back in the box. They catch the corners on the side of the box, and boom, right there. Probably dock a point off all of your grades if you had those cards graded. And this set is also extra special. It's the original owner, and it's never been shipped. So this guy bought it at, I think he said Montgomery Wards or something like that. And so it's never been purchased off of eBay and then had to ride around on the back of a truck and go on airplanes and all this stuff. And in the meantime, you can wrap that thing in 50 layers of bubble wrap. But it doesn't matter because inside the box, what's happening? The cards are rolling and falling. And there's just a little bit enough movement, I feel like, when that happens in transport, that something with, a set with a black border, all of a sudden, there's no chance to get a PSA 10 out of any Tiffany box, I think, that's been shipped to somebody. So if anybody wants to buy that box, the sealed, still intact, I have not touched it since I bought it. I've been really, really tempted to do a break of it just to make the money back, especially with all these bills coming in. There's Paul Molitor right there. Willie McGee. Good old Don Sutton once again, another Hall of Famer. Well, we got everybody that we were after. We got to see Cal Ripken. We got to see Don Mattingly. We got to see Ricky Henderson, Nolan Ryan, Pete Rose, George Brett. Probably saw all the cards, many of them more than once. So we still have a few packs left in this one. There's, I think, 5 packs left. Hope you've enjoyed this throwback to 86. This was some of your heyday. This was your prime. The height of the pinnacle of your collecting days was 86 tops. For me, I wasn't quite even started yet. It's getting near. My dad was always trying to get me into baseball from the age of 4. But I never wanted to. I was too into G.I. Joes and all the other stuff. I didn't really care about baseball. I thought it was dumb. I just wanted to play with my toys. And then when I saw that some of my friends, neighborhood kids, liked playing baseball, then I was like, oh, that's cool now. I'm all in. I think that's the first checklist, at least that I've noticed. The despised checklist. There's Cal Ripken Jr. once more. We've got another Reds spot right there. Joe Orsulak, Expos, Mets leaders, Whitey Herzog. A lot of leaders in this particular pack. They're all over the place. George Brett. Man, a ton of cards here to ship to Tim. These are just loaded up. I've got 3 big stacks. This is probably about the same amount of cards as 3 wax. Kind of weird that Lloyd Mosby's upside down. They flip it over like it's a Stars of MLB card. Or, more appropriately, an actual hit, like a numbered card or something like that. But we already know that the quality control in this box is not perfect with those terrible miscuts. Next pack. Here comes Elsa. My kids are probably wondering what's taking so long for me to come and say goodnight to them. We're now at 40 minutes into the video. Look at all these cards, Elsa. This box came out in 1986, Elsa. You know how old I was in 1986?
6.
Almost. Well, yeah, I was 6 in October. But when this came out, I was 5. This came out at the beginning of 1986. Joe Carter right there.
Oh, cards are upside down.
Yeah, I know. I was like, if I was flipping all these right side up, we would be here probably an extra 20 minutes. It's wild. There's Dave Parker. I'm just the good ones I'm taking out. They're upside down and taking a closer look. There's Vince Coleman. Vince Coleman rookie card right there. Pretty nice. Probably sleeve that one up. Ted Power used to... Oh, I hated Ted Power. I hated this guy also. This guy was an absolute jerk. He was terrible with the Pirates, and then he was a coach for the Reds, and he was just really, really just... I don't know. It's not very cool to talk to out there. We've got Eddie Murray. He's a Hall of Famer. Jim Rice once again. And that would be Rick Rhoden, former Pirates pitcher. Well, there's 3 packs left. I might as well finish them. I was just thinking about just sending them to Tim sealed so he could open some up, because we've seen all of the best cards, you know? But I like opening cards. Pretty cool, huh? All right. Daryl Strawberry. So glad tomorrow's Friday. Last Friday of the month for work. Next Friday is Black Friday. I won't be at work.
Yep.
Elsa won't be at school.
Yep.
Thanksgiving break. I'll be looking for some good deals out there on baseball cards. I wonder if there will be any good deals. You know, everything just seems so high, even with these Black November sales that some of these places are having. Still not seeing any great deals. I would love to find like Topps Update for like $100 a box on a Black Friday special. That's what I'd like to find, a hobby box of that. That would be pretty awesome. I've been buying those up like crazy, those Topps Update. There's Ryan Sandberg. We haven't seen him yet. Ryan Sandberg. Great looking card right there. So if you've been waiting for Sandberg, hope it was worth the wait. And there's Van Slyke. He was my favorite player as a kid. Back when he was with the Cardinals. He was traded on April Fool's Day. So when he was traded, he thought it was a joke. He was traded for the Pirates all-star catcher, Tony Pena. And nobody thought it was legit. April Fool's Day. Did you ever play a good joke on anybody, Elsa, for April Fool's Day? No? Yeah, I haven't really either. I need to start practicing. I need to get some ideas in mind. I need to do an April Fool's Day video. I had one in mind that we never did. I had a box. We were on vacation, a family vacation back in, I think it was 2019 with my brother. My brother, my kids, my parents, and we were at the ocean. And I thought it would be really interesting. It'd be just a really dumb video, but it would be appropriate to upload on April Fool's Day. To open a box of 1991 Fleer on a boogie board in the ocean and see if we could somehow get through without the cards surviving. Or, you know, if the cards were damaged, nobody would care because it's 91 Fleer. And also, they're so just hideous and bright that I don't think water could even damage them because they're so bright. Probably just make the water just vaporize as soon as they touch that yellow border. But never got around to that. My brother ended up going home, I think, a couple days early, and we never did that. Maybe one of these days. Let's see what else we got.
Base with a baseball card.
Brett Saberhagen. We did that on the beach. We built the kiddos last summer. The beach. We built big sand castles, and we took some baseball cards out and tried to protect them from the waves. It was players that weren't worth anything, players that didn't like. There's a nice Cal Ripken Jr. That's a perfect looking card right there. Ripken Jr., another great one for Tim.
I want more baseball cards.
You can't touch this, Emmy, because you're shaking the whole camera. I am flanked to my left by Elsa and Emmy on the right.
I want baseball cards.
Well, you can't have any of these. These are for Tim.
Yeah.
And a Nolan Ryan, if we can get it graded to get a 10, is worth $2,600.
Jeez.
So you can't touch these.
Yeah, definitely not.
All right, this is the last pack we got. The other pack I'm going to send sealed because of the players that are on the front. Little last pack magic for Tim. 45 minutes in. The longest throwback Thursday video in some time. Let's see if we can get one more big card. I'm glad that we kept going so we saw that Sandberg. Jack Morris once again. There's Goose. Goose Gossage right there. The goose is loose. We've got Jack Morris. We have about two wax packs worth of cards left. Before I get into those, I got to give you the codes for Whatnot because we got $15 off. Anytime you use this code to sign up, $15 off. Use this link. If you just go and sign up for Whatnot right now, just not using this code, you won't get anything. So at least get yourself $15. We're live there every Wednesday and Sunday with breaks. We also do Friday shows where it's kind of like fans' choice. We have this game called Find the Auto Friday that's really, really fun. I might also sell some silver packs this Friday, which will be tomorrow.
Wait, can we do that?
And we also have, sorry I got distracted because Emily was touching the tripod again. I don't want to knock the camera down yet again. We also have the $150 bonus. If you want to sell your own cards, go live, sell your cards, and they'll match whatever you sell up to $150. All you have to do is go live, make some sales, sell to at least 5 different people, and be live for 2 hours. And they will give you free money. Don't miss that out on that deal. And look who we have here, Ricky Henderson. I'm glad I opened this up. This Henderson has sold for $2,000 in the PSA 10. Again, I don't know. This one has that same little bubble there. I'm curious. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This on his arm. See this little like speck?
No.
On his left elbow.
Oh, I see.
I'm really curious if that's on every single card now. I might have to go into these super big sales and check a PSA 10 image and see if these cards that have sold for freaking $2,000 have that same one. We'll do that here in a second. I got to clear the screen though. I don't want to put my computer on top of these cards. That would be ridiculous. Tom Seaver right there. Jim Morrison. It's about 10 p.m. right now, so a little bit of a later upload tonight. Sorry for that. Cecil Fielder for the third time, and all of them have been a little bit off center. Every single Cecil Fielder. That doesn't matter. All the Hall of Famers were good. good centering. There's George Brett, speaking of Hall of Famers. And we wrap it up with Gary Matthews, good old Sarge. So we got the sealed pack that we're going to keep sealed for Tim. We got all of these hits. I'll get them all sleeved up. We get the big boys that are worth a bunch of money in a PSA 10 top loaded up for you. And let's take a closer look at a PSA 10 Ricky Henderson. Just to see. I'm just curious. So, for example, this one right here sold for $2,000. Does it have the bubble? Ricky Henderson. I want to see it. I want to zoom in on it. It's not going to let me zoom in on it? Well.
It's just making it bad.
See original listing. All right. Oh, man. I don't. Looks like someone doesn't know how to use a computer. Why is this not? It doesn't have the bubble. Yeah, there's no bubble there, so I think that's probably why. That's crazy. I never realized that. So you got to look your cards over. I don't think that they would give that card a 10, maybe a 9. Very interesting. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday, and we will see you all on our Whatnot stream tomorrow night. Good night, everybody.
Good night.